Hello and welcome to another day in paradise, and welcome to another edition of the Unapologetic Nagropian. In today's video, Africa is an attractive proposition to many diasporans who are planning to live the rest of their lives in peace and in harmony amongst people who look like themselves. Countries like the Gambia, Ghana and Nigeria are attracting people from across the diaspora right back to the motherland. However, it is not just attracting those people who are looking to better their own lives by living amongst their own people. It is also attracting those people who are planning to fleece those diasporans of as much money as possible. Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Great Move in Africa. You know, when you got those wildebeest and the zebras and the springboks, everything. You have all those animals all moving to the place where all the waters are. So you have tens and thousands of these animals all moving across the great African plains, and right there you have the hyenas and the wild dogs, the scavengers, the vultures, who are just circling above, waiting for their next meal. That's what it reminds me of. You have these people who have no intentions of doing any real good business over in Africa with their fellow diasporan brethren. They are looking to scam them for as much money as possible. Now, over the last year, I have brought to you videos of such cases, many of them, many diasporans who have been using the fact that they are diasporans to encourage other diasporans to part with their money, only to leave them with nothing. The amount of scammers that have gone to places like the Gambia is so astonishing. It's absolutely amazing. The vast majority of these people have YouTube channels. This is sort of like an interface for them where they can greet and meet, so that customers can get to know these people if they don't already know them already. So now's the time that I start reeling off my tongue the list of people who you should be avoiding, people who you can find on YouTube, people who are exposed to the diaspora every single day because these people need to sell themselves to you. So I should be giving you Instagram profiles and YouTube channels where to find these people, but if I want to show you one place where you can find all these people who are involved in these nefarious activities, you need only go to one place. For some reason, Prince Dynast Amir has given a platform to the most dodgiest people that you can possibly find in the diaspora. People who perhaps should not be given a platform. And it doesn't seem as if Prince Dynast actually cares. He's just looking to produce content no matter what. Prince Dynast simply gives the people the things that they want to listen to, the things that they want to hear. So there shouldn't be a problem, right? Of land scammers, people who have been unfaithful to their wives, bank scammers. The remarkable thing is that all these people, all these bottom feeding parasites, well, they seem to be congregating in one place. You have criminals that have been done for fraudulent financial activities, and this startling fact can no longer be ignored, simply because now Prince Dynast Amir has started up the oneafricaproperties company, in which he's going to now start asking people to start trusting him. But can we trust him? Is Prince Dynast simply guilty by association? Does Prince Dynast have the integrity to run a company in which people will trust him with thousands and thousands of dollars? Well, we're going to try and answer those questions today. But first, I'm going to ask you to please like, subscribe, share, click the bell notification, and please consider supporting the channel on our Patreon, link in the description. People like Nax Sleazy and the Midget King RJ Mardi and all of these parasitic, bottom-feeding degenerates seem to be congregating in one place. Yes, the search for Uhuru. So the question is, why? Why does Prince Dynast Amir continue to have these lowlives on his show? So I'm not going to start off with who Prince Dynast Amir is. You probably know who he is already, but I will start off with this One Africa project. What is it? The One Africa property company, it's a rather typical diasporan setup. Another diasporan trying to sell the Pan-African dream to his people, to his clients. So it seems as though Prince Dynast is trying to cash in on the big move. So yes, another tin pot organization organized by another fake Pan-Africanist who is trying to sell the Pan-African dream. Now we all know that Prince Dynast has his detractors. There are plenty of people that dislike him or distrust him for whatever reason. I actually like Prince Dynast Amir. I liked him anyway until I found out what he did with the GAIA when he simply ignored them after he didn't take any responsibility for having a criminal like Wilkins Morency on his platform and exposing all of his subscribers to someone who, if he gets their money or gets their details, will have his wicked way with them. For me, this is strike one when it comes to One Africa Properties, because it shows us that the person in charge, the main guy in charge of this organization, is irresponsible. So you got to question the integrity of the organization when things go wrong, and things do readily go wrong when you're buying property in Africa. We all know that it can happen. What we do is we try to do our best to mitigate our risk, and we can't mitigate our risk by simply keeping our fingers crossed and trusting in a man who can talk like a pastor in a church. He's working with a woman by the name of Aurelia Pert, and after doing some digging on her, she seems clean as clean. The only question brought up when I was doing research into her was, what is she doing with Prince Dynast Amir? Does she have any idea of who he is and who his associates are? We know that Prince Dynast Amir can sell snow to the Eskimos. He's got the gift of the gab, and he can definitely sell himself. So it's rare that his mask falls off, and it's clear that she probably has no idea that Prince Dynast Amir is friends with Wilkins Morency and Shakina Shinedu. All these people have been on his program. He's visited these people. He sat down and spoke to these people. It's almost as if he's speaking to the who's who of African diasporan scammers, and he's having them all on his channel. So what do I think about this? Why are all these people on his channel? Why is he accepting these people onto his channel? Why is he exposing his subscribers to the most nefarious bottom feeders in the whole of the diaspora? I have a theory, which I'm going to pass by you right now. I have a feeling that Prince Dynast Amir is like the other people that we've spoken about. I think he's much like Carla Genesis. I think the reason he supports Carla Genesis is because he thinks like Carla Genesis. He believes he's an African American and he has a right to take over land in Africa. It's his in his own right. This is the reason why he keeps getting all of these passports. I believe he thinks that way. I believe the reason why he supported Art Cathy was because he secretly inside thinks the exact same way. He never said anything bad about her. Remember that. And we all know what Art Cathy is like, but he never said anything to detract her from saying what she was saying about the good people of the Gambia. No, he supported her. People like RJ Mahdi, who have absolutely no intent on doing anything good for the actual diaspora. All he wants to do is sell himself as a fake king to the rest of the diaspora, to the rest of the people, to feed his own ego. Now, all these people can be put into one group. They're all Garveyites, right? We know what Garveyites are. Garveyites are people who follow the teachings of Marcus Garvey, both the negative and the positive. They are purists. Okay, so they follow what he did to a T, moving back to Africa, taking the land and fighting for a motherland purely for diasporans. Hence the reason why he's had people like Nax Sleazy on his show. The reason he's had him on is because we all know Nax Sleazy as being somebody who hates Africans. Yeah, he's changed his tone now, once the ADOS movement saw him for who he was and knew that there was no good coming out of him, they kicked him out of the organization because his children are not black, his wife is barely black, and he himself is barely black too. So you have this family of mulattoes, which shouldn't be a problem, but you cannot be in the ADOS community if a great deal of your bloodline that is going to benefit from any monies, from any reimbursement received from foundational Americans of African descent, going back into a bloodline which is going to go back to to Europeans. And this is why he was kicked out of that ADOS community. So you have somebody who has hate for Africans, and then all of a sudden he is disowned by a black group in which he was in love with, and then all of a sudden they disowned him. So all of a sudden Nak Sleazy has changed his tone. He started saying that he's always been a friend of Africa and that he's gone to Africa himself, and yeah, you know, when all along we know that deep down inside, he hates them. Do we even need to talk about Wilkins Morenzi? I don't think we need to, because we've said so much about him over the last 2 weeks. We know what kind of person this man is. He's not a person who anyone should be doing business with. In fact, he's not even a person that anyone should be associating himself with. Any good man would not want to associate themselves with a criminal, with somebody who goes around threatening to kill people. Who wants to associate themselves with a person like that? Prince Dynast Amir does, apparently. What about Shakina Shinaidu, the British Caribbean woman who has been draining the blood like a vampire out of diasporans who have been moving back to Africa, planning to live their dream, only to snatch tens of thousands of dollars away from them and to send them back to the diaspora with nothing? She has been on his channel too. All these people are not people who you can associate with and say that you are a person with integrity, someone that you can trust. We cannot just ignore the fact that he's associated with these people. But the fact now that we can see the way Prince Dynast Amir operates, we can make very good assumptions and assertions that Prince Dynast Amir may not be a person who you can trust, which means we cannot trust this One Africa organization either. This Aurelia Pert, I mean, I don't really know her too well, but from what I've seen from her, she seems like a good person. And if I was her, I would do more research into who Prince Dynast Amir is. He said that he met her whilst he was away traveling. Okay, that's very nice, but do you actually know Prince Dynast Amir? If you are not coming on your show or on your YouTube channel or on your Instagram channel, and if you are not expressing your concerns and how people can avoid being scammed by these individuals that he has on his channel, if you're not saying anything about that, then you are ignoring the elephant in the room. And with that, people should be aware of that. People should be aware that these so-called diasporan, pan-African property agents are just ignoring the fact that people are being scammed out of their life savings day after day after day by people who they have been associating themselves with. So I know that many of you out there are guys who are planning to retire. I can see that because I can see it in my YouTube analytics. Many of you are at that time where you are following this channel to give yourself some information about who to avoid when going to the continent to buy your property, buy your land. I know you guys are at a time in your life where you have worked your socks off for the entirety of your life and you are now fixated on moving back to the continent. All I have to say to you is be patient. Please, you have waited long enough. Don't put yourself in a position now that where you've worked all your life, you've saved all your money up, and you put your money in the wrong place under the control of somebody who uses the valor of their tongue in order to win over money from you. Speak to organizations in your country that will point you in the right direction so that you can make an investment in Africa without exposing yourself to risk. You put a plan in action which mitigates as much risk as possible. Look at the people who you're dealing with. I don't even have to say this. You just look at the people who you are dealing with. I've done all these videos, okay? Most of the stuff that I have said inside here has been backed up with evidence, so you can see that for yourself. I have nothing to gain from telling you that Wilkins Morency is a scam artist. He just is, so you should avoid him. So you should now do your best to implement the information that you have been given. Don't put yourself into that situation. The vast majority of African diasporans are good people, and the vast majority of African continentals are also good people. There are organizations in Africa that will also help you to find the right agents who are not going to scam you for your money. Yes, there may be a language barrier. Take it. It's better than giving your money to someone who is a known con artist or to someone who associates themselves with con artists. All I can say to you now about this oneafricaproperties is to stay clear of it. Until this company or any of the people at the helm of this company is able to stand up and say, well, maybe it's time we speak about how we can protect our clients' money, don't deal with them. Don't deal with them. They don't want to bring the problem to the forefront because they don't want to admit that a problem exists. If a problem doesn't exist, then they can just ignore it and they can move past it, and then they can continue to sell themselves as trustworthy people when they are anything but. So lastly, a quick message to Aurelia Pert. You are a good businesswoman. Do your due diligence. Make sure you do your background checks on everyone, and that includes your business partners. Guys, like always, it's back over to you. How many of you guys have used the services of One Africa Property Services? How many of you guys trust Dynast Amir? How many of you guys would use his services? How many of you guys would not use his services? It would be good to hear your opinion on this one. Please leave a comment in the comment section. But that's it from me for today. I'd like to say thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I'd like to give an extra special thank you to my Patreons, and I will see you in the next one. Until the next time, please think twice. Ta-ra a bit.